Okay, I was outside and I was trying new alchemy, spiritual alchemy, physical alchemy. And what I got, okay, so they were talking to me as I was filling in the little piece about the video I just made. You know, where I type in what the title is and what what I a short synopsis of what it's about. And there was what popped into my mind were how we tend to get stuck in these habits, right? And it's not the habit, it's the continuous motion of doing the same habit. So it's like, okay, say you smoke, right? Say you smoke Parliaments, because that's what I was smoking for a while. Actually, I was smoking Newports for a while, and then I thought it was a little too much, so I was like wanting to quit. But then I was like, okay, well, quitting wasn't really working all that well for me. So I was like, maybe if I just switched it up to something that doesn't feel as harsh, feels a little more comfortable. So I tried Parliaments, and then I was smoking Parliaments for a long time. In fact, I still have these here. But then I realized that we become creatures of habit, so things tend to stay the same. So then I tried, well, my friends here in Pennsylvania, they smoke Marble Lights, and I tried that last night, and I noticed I felt different, like there was a different alchemy in that solution. It was like my saliva changed a little bit with smoking something different. And then I was like, okay, so then I got curious, and I'm like, well, why don't I try something different? So then I went to the store just now and I tried these basics. I don't know what drew me to the word. I didn't even remember what the package looked like. I just thought immediately basics, and the woman said they didn't have any, like she wasn't aware of them. And then I like looked around. I was persistent in these basics. So I don't even know when I smoked these. It doesn't really matter. For some reason it was in my mind. So then I look around and I see that they're right there at the bottom shelf. They're next to Newports, a red package of Newports. I guess that's the regular Newports? I don't know. And I saw these there and I noticed they were gold. Now, gold has been something that keeps popping up in my mind because we call it gold, but it's AU. Like, AU. I mean, I don't know. Maybe there's something in that too. But there's something about gold that makes it makes me think of something ancient. It makes me think of something else, something basic. So when I see the gold here, when I think of gold, I think of conductive, highly conductive material. I think pliable. We usually have to, if we want to make something solid out of it, we usually have to add something to it. We have to create some sort of alchemy, some sort of chemical infusion, so that it won't, the heat and the temperature of our hands won't disrupt that form, that figure. And it's something about gold. I haven't quite figured it out about gold yet, but this is yet another thing that reminds me of gold. So it's like I have to go further with the gold theory, something about gold. So just something to keep in mind about that. But what I really wanted to talk about was the importance of switching things up, and the way that I can, the way the something that I can use that makes sense on maybe another scale is that soaps, soaps. They tell you all the time. Well, I don't know. I feel like it's common knowledge that we understand when you use the same thing over and over and over, you create an immunity to it. You create some sort of immunity to it to where now it doesn't make any difference. It doesn't clean your body. That's the way we look at it. So it's like switching things up. Switching things up is important in all aspects, because we see something as negative. We see smoking as negative, and I'm like, okay, well, the way I see it is that maybe at first it's a little confusing, right? Confusing with fusion. because now your cells are interacting with something that is different. It's a little bit different and it's a little foreign. So it's like when we see something that looks uncomfortable or disorderly, what we're doing is we're confused, because we're now taking that picture that we looked at and we're putting it in our system, and we say, now what is it about this situation that seems so confusing? It seems foreign, and sometimes we start wars because we're like, it's so different. But when you think about it in a different way, it actually, with fusion, and you become more comfortable with something, because you remind yourself, and then you can see a different perspective, because you get past that over emotion. You get past that emotion of being immediately repelled and just saying, oh, forget it. But like in my other videos, when I talk about cannibalism and death, it's like, to like constantly remind yourself about it sort of makes it a little bit easier to understand from a different perspective, because now you've gotten over that hump of that repelling force, and it's like two magnets. There's a north and south pole, so it's like, if you're looking at it at one way, you're just constantly pushing against it. But sometimes if you just flip it over, now you're attracted to it. Now the confusion is now fused together, and it's like it creates an even stronger magnetic field. It creates a very strong current there. And now one thing is now two things fused together, like the two genders, like making love and creating a child, if you want to, or an orgasm. I mean, all of these things are just different perspectives of looking at the same thing in a scientific way. So I think what I realize is that the importance of this alchemy, the importance of being little scientists. We're little scientists. And I went to the store, and I remember I like little packages. I like little packages because you can just try it out. You can just try it out and let it sit in your mouth, and it's like my saliva gets so excited about it that it like swarms it even faster, because it's been so long since I had an Oreo, that it like immediately breaks it up, and it becomes like this very silky smooth solution, and I swallow it, and it's like drinking water. It's like this flavorful water, like flavor water. I went in the store and I got this because I was attracted to the color of the purple and the yellow, which are complementary colors. And something that reminded me of this was that I always knew the sun is not trying to hurt us. It seems harsh maybe because we're looking at it differently. So I tried this age-old, it's like 6,000 years old or something, about looking at the sun, about taking in the sun rays, just like, what is that called, where plants take in the sun? Chlorophyll? Or there's a process, I forget the process, but they take the sun in, and then they make something of it. So I look at the sun, and when I just look at it and stop freaking out about what my eyes might experience, and I just look at it, I see the complementary color. I see it. It like just is there. And what do I see? I see purple, and I'm like, hey, now wait a minute. I mean, I don't have to stare at it. I can already see that is there. It's the purple and the yellow. So it was really funny that I saw these two, and I see something there. I see something there, and I didn't even have to think about it until I realized I like peach and mango. I like mango a lot, actually. There's something really awesome about mangoes, and it's like, we are really into these, what are they called? Power foods, or power, what do they call them? Whole foods? I forget what they're called. Well, we call them something in our culture. Power, oh man, I can't even think of it now. But these are like these nutrient-rich foods, maybe, that we had forgotten about, and now it's like all over the place. And this one is pomegranate blueberry, and I love these two. I love blueberries because they got this saturated color, right? But when you chew on it, it's like this mushy, It's like mushy, you know? So it's like this intense, strong, saturated color, but it's like a very soft, comfortable flavor. Yeah, it's a very mild flavor. Sometimes it's bitter if you eat them too soon. But when you get them just right, it's like perfect blueberry, you know? It's like the three bears. And you get the porridge, you know? One's too cold, one's too hot, but then just right, that middle path, you know, between the temperatures. We don't have to be extreme. We just enjoy having those options, okay? So I like pomegranate because I don't know if you've ever eaten a pomegranate before, but when you break it open, you've got these really interesting layers inside of a pomegranate. It's this saturated fuchsia purple infusion, you know? It's so cool looking. And it's like you open it up and you got these little layers that you peel off, and then bam, you got all these seeds in there, and they're kind of bitter, but it's like if you just mix the solution a little bit different, you don't have to have like pow, all of that at once. You can now enjoy it in a different solution. Oh heck, let's just try it right now. This is alchemy. This is like science right now. See, that's interesting. As soon as I put this in my mouth, it was like, whoa, a lot of flavor. But when I let it sit there, my little cell buddies were like, I don't get it, you know, and they kind of come in and they calm that flavor down, and they move around and mix, and it makes it thicker, and it makes the potency less potent, and then it's like it becomes more comfortable, and then I drink it, and I can feel that my body is like, whoa, what's going on here? It's something new. But then it like calms down. I can feel the whoa, like my mouth felt the whoa. But then using my own solution, my own saliva, that sort of breaks it up. Like I talked about cells, you know, they got that layer, that skin that they have, you know, and it lets it the molecule come in, and then it sort of like attacks it. You know, the plasma inside the cell sort of like attacks it, and it like breaks up all the extra potency a little bit, and then it mixes together, and then it kind of like makes it, you know, flow right into the cells so that it can work around, work its magic. Look, as I'm talking about it, it was like super windy, and now the sun comes out. It's like you literally take these things in, but if you just let it sit for a minute and calm it down, it doesn't have to be so extreme. And I'm not saying that we got to do that every time. What I'm saying is that there are so many ways to experience these flavors and these like new products on the market, and we don't, I feel like sometimes we freak out about it because we're like, oh, a new flavor of this, oh, a new flavor of that. But it's like, you know, we love new stuff. We love new solutions. We love hearing new ideas and new concepts. And we love watching people do something totally strange and weird. And that's probably why we have, you know, reality shows and all of this, because we love that people experiment with stuff. We are living vicariously through other people. Well, it's almost like we're literally this is now living vicariously through us, and we're living vicariously through that. And then I immediately when I do this outside, it's like I literally watch my environment reflect on that, and then it comes to me, and I feel what I'm possibly creating inside of my own body, and the positivity that I put into that experience by really tasting the flavor and watching it and watch it mix. Watch it. Well, I mean, I'm watching it in my mind's eye, but I can feel it too. Yeah, so then, you know, once it goes in there, it's now not so extreme because I feel the warmth of the sun. I feel the wind on my skin. I I feel the need to constantly move my body around when I talk because I'm using my vocal cords, but you know, it's so much that goes into your vocal cords. You've got your diaphragm, you've got your lungs, you've got your cardiovascular now, because you're breathing, just like the wind is moving. I mean, this is probably the truest science that ever was. Is having fun with your environment, and instead of seeing it as separate, like, oh, it's an Oreo, that's a tree. Well, maybe the tree wants to experience it. In fact, sometimes what I do, in fact, I just did this a little while ago. I put like an Oreo in my mouth, or I took this. This is coconut cream, and I really love creamy stuff. You know, I think there's something that kids love to play with, and I'm sure adults love it too. Where you take like an Oreo, right, and sort of open it open. You open it up, and then you take like another one, and it's like, as a kid, I used to try to make this mountain of white, awesome creaminess, right, and then you can enjoy all that creaminess. I mean, there's a reason why we're attracted to this white solution, we're attracted to this white stuff. I feel like intuitively we're somehow attracted to that combination. But what else I find really interesting is that, yes, it would be attractive on its own, but it wouldn't be so powerfully magnetic maybe if we didn't have the brown and white together, like coffee and milk, like York peppermint patties. It's that those two extremes that make one or the other really attractive. So it's like, so it's like I put this in my mouth and I let it sit for a minute, and I'm like, maybe my environment wants to experiment with it. So I would like let it soak in my own solution, my own saliva, and then I would sort of like spit it out into the earth. And I'm like, well, alchemy, right? It's also imagination. I think, well, we water things to make them grow. So what would I create if I just used all these new products and mix it with water and then put it in the earth? What would happen? Would I grow something really cool? Would it change something? And this is what's really interesting to me, because this feels totally natural, and this feels like total science. You can do it on the inside, and it's still going to create the product on the outside, or the outside creates the product on the inside. I mean, I am so excited right now, as you can tell. I am like running a mile a minute. And this is the in love process. This is the teacher and the student coming together in this perfect harmony of being in love with thinking, I can create this, and I don't need a degree. I don't need to sit down and do the math, because I just understand on some intuitive level that something beautiful is happening just by taking the time just by taking the time to really feel it. And it slows me down a little bit, because it's like it's like that moment. All right, it's like this moment after the orgasm, right? We're both kind of just like, yeah, you sort of bask in the glow. Sometimes you want a cigarette, you know, you just want to breathe in the moment. You breathe in the moment, whether it's through a cigarette, whether it's a drink of water, whether it's just talking or cuddling or making a sandwich. I mean, it doesn't matter what you're doing. You are absorbing the moment. You're absorbing the moment. Now I don't even feel like talking because I'm so in the moment. Oh, yeah. There's something really magical about that. So try playing with that. Try, I don't know. Like, I like red velvet, you know. I got one of these little red velvet pumpkins, and I really like this a lot. So I don't know what it is about the red and I don't know. But there's something about red velvet. And there's something about the cream cheese frosting. Man, I wish they had, like, maybe another center, you know? Like, maybe, I don't know if you can see that. They got, like, the chocolate, and then they got the red center there. But what if they added something else to make it the complete system, you know? What if they put something in the center that was like this white creamy substance? whoa, what if I mixed this with that? Right? Like, it's total alchemy. This is so funny. I like get like a giddy little schoolgirl right now. So I guess I'm just sort of having fun with my own alchemy right now, and I love it because I can literally look around and I can feel the sun and I can feel the wind and I feel totally comfortable because it's like putting that positive curiosity, childlike spirit into it, and you just feel so comfortable. You just feel so comfortable. You take those extremes and you kind of like level it out a bit because you're putting positive nature into it. You're experimenting. Experimenting is so fun. We love to experiment with stuff. That's true science. That's spirit science right there. Oh man, I'm so excited right now. Okay, so that's all I had to share for now. I just was so enthralled with that moment that it was like had to happen right now. So, thanks for watching.